So, what does a grade 8 Islamic studies textbook actually teach today? You might have some ideas, but let's just toss those aside for a minute. We're about to take a look inside one. And honestly, what it reveals about faith, morality, and modern life is pretty fascinating. Let's get started. You know, when you think about it, at the heart of so many stories, ancient and modern, is this basic human drive, right? A search for truth, for something that makes sense of it all. This textbook really leans into that, framing the whole journey not as just, accepting a list of rules, but as an active and sometimes really difficult quest. So our first stop on this tour explores exactly that, these incredibly personal journeys and the tests of faith that pop up when someone dares to look for a new path. Right off the bat, the textbook frames faith not as something static that you just have, but as a journey of discovery. And to make this point, it uses these powerful historical examples, like the story of a man named Salman the Persian, whose whole life was basically one long search for the right way. So Salman's story kicks off with this deep spiritual curiosity. He was raised in the Zoroastrian faith, really devoted to it, but then he encounters the teachings of some local Christians, and he feels this pull. It's a classic story, right? Looking beyond the world you were born into. But, and this is a huge but, this search came with a serious personal cost. This quote from the text really drives that home. His father didn't just disagree with him, he harshly opposed him. So the point here is that this isn't shown as an easy path. It's one that takes real conviction, especially when you're facing serious opposition like that. Okay, so Salman's journey was all about following his heart. But the book then asks a really interesting, more intellectual question. How do you actually verify the truth you think you've found? And it pivots from that personal story to a more methodical one, about a scribe who put different communities to the test to see how well they preserved their sacred texts. And his method was actually pretty clever. Here's what the textbook says he did. He made copies of the Torah, but deliberately changed them, adding things, taking things out. He then took these altered versions to a synagogue, where, the book says, the errors weren't noticed. He then tried the same thing with Christian and then Muslim texts, and found that only the Muslims spotted the changes. Now, this is a parable, of course, designed to make a point about textual preservation. Which leads us to how the book teaches other complex ideas.
Right, so it's not all historical narratives. The textbook also uses these really powerful analogies and parables to make abstract spiritual ideas feel tangible, easy to grasp.
Just look at this parable. It's really elegant, actually. It takes 4 types of people and explains their relationship with the Quran using taste and smell. So a believer who recites is like a citron. Tastes good, smells good. Good on the inside and the outside. But a believer who doesn't recite is like a date. Still tastes good on the inside, but that goodness isn't radiating outward. It's such a clear and memorable way to explain the difference between inner belief and outward practice.
And sticking with that theme, there's another incredible metaphor the book uses to describe the very essence of a believer's inner self, their heart.
I mean, listen to this imagery. It's just beautiful. The heart is compared to this lamp inside a globe of pure, glistening glass. The idea is that a believer's heart isn't just some container for faith. It's a vessel that is itself pure and is meant to shine, to radiate light. Okay, so we've looked at the internal world of the heart. Now the book shifts gears to the external world of action, with stories where belief gets tested under the absolute most extreme circumstances. All right, picture this. The textbook sets a really dramatic scene. It's the middle of the night. A man named Abbad ibn Bishr is on guard duty. It's quiet, he's vulnerable, and to pass the time, he decides to pray, reciting from the Quran. And then, the unthinkable. An enemy archer spots him and shoots him with an arrow. But, and this is the part that's just wild, Abbad gets hit, pulls the arrow out, and just keeps praying. He doesn't break his recitation. His focus is just absolute. It doesn't even stop there. The archer hits him a second time, and then a third time. It's only after being shot 3 times that Abbad finally finishes his prayer, makes his bow, and wakes up his companion, bleeding heavily the whole time. So when his friend wakes up and asks him, "Why didn't you wake me sooner?" Abbad's reason is just staggering. He says the chapter, the surah he was reciting was so beautiful to him that he couldn't stand the thought of cutting it short, even if it meant he could be killed. It's the ultimate story of devotion completely transcending physical pain. All right, let's pivot and bring all of this into the present day, because this is our final section, and it's all about how this textbook connects these timeless principles to the very specific challenges of life right now. The book offers this surprisingly sharp critique of modern life, which it calls the plight of modern man. And the core problem, as it sees it, is that we're all kept so busy, so preoccupied and distracted, that there's just no time left to actually stop and think, to reflect.
And it gets so specific. This isn't just vague moral advice. The textbook straight up lists substances to avoid, and it even includes street names like smack for heroin and pot for cannabis. This is faith being applied in a very direct, very contemporary way. And the message here could not be clearer. The golden rule, as the book calls it, is total avoidance. Just keep away. It's framed not just as a moral issue, but as a real, practical danger that can trap you. But the solution it offers isn't just about what not to do. The real antidote to this plight of modern man, according to the textbook, is a positive action. It's active contemplation. This quote just nails the point. It makes this sharp distinction between just saying the words of Scripture, giving them lip service, and actually meditating on what they mean. So reflection isn't just a nice little habit. It's presented as an act of worship in itself. And we end with this question, which is actually taken right from an exercise in the book. It's not a statement, it's an invitation to think. After all the stories, all the parables, all the warnings, the textbook leaves the student and us to reflect on that ultimate mystery of the personal search for truth, right where we started,